final authority when it comes to setting the rates. All we can do is either approve or deny a request for a rate case. However, the utilities have the ability to appeal their case to a state regulator. For El Paso Electric, that happens at the Public Utility Commission, and for Texas Gas, that happens at the Railroad Commission. So what the city does is we join in those lawsuits. So traditionally, the case will be filed, the city council will have an opportunity to hear the case, and they will either vote it up or down. Most of the times, they deny the rate case because they don't want to see your rates increase. However, what we do is we join that lawsuit. We hire both experts, engineers, accountants, various different types of experts to join in the lawsuit and assist us in walking through what the utility is proposing. And then what we do is ensure that we either have a negotiated discussion with the utility about decreasing their request or achieving other ratepayer protections. So again, when we involve ourselves in these types of filings, we are talking about the city's quality of life, right? So we care about what the rates are. We care about the city having good infrastructure both for electric and gas utilities. We're talking about economic mobility, so we clearly want to have the ability to provide electricity for the community to keep growing. But we also want public safety, so we want a reliable utility. We don't want brownouts or opportunities where we don't have access to electricity or gas. And we also talk about ensuring that there's a process and good governance for the public to understand what the rates entail. So the city, when it intervenes in the case, that means that we are part of the case. If the city chose to not be part of the case, what would happen is that the rates would go unchallenged, which means that whatever they're proposing is the bills that you would see would automatically increase. However, as I just explained, our goal in being part of the lawsuit is to keep the rates as low as possible while still affording an opportunity for the rate to increase due to whatever infrastructure is needed to keep the community growing. So I wanted to talk to you about what we've done in the last 3 years. So the city has been actively intervening in cases for the last 3 years. We've had 41 cases filed within the last several years. Can somebody close the door?
No, they're here.
I can't hear and nobody in the room can hear.
You're out in the hallway so they can hear.
So what I would like to refer to the public is, in the last 4 years, we've been able to achieve $85 million in ratepayer savings.
You put a speaker out there?
So what that means is that, but for the cities joining in these cases, your rates would have gone up $85 million, give or take. We've seen the ability to recover some of those costs. So when we intervene, there's a cost to intervene. We enter into settlement agreements where we are reimbursed for the cost of that reimbursement. And you'll see the different types of proceeding at the bottom. And what I wanted to just point out to you is we know what your utility bill looks like. Most of our utility bills look like this.
They doubled.
What I'm just reiterating to the public is that the council has directed myself and my office to intervene as aggressively as often to keep your rates as low. But you always keep in mind that the city is not the final decision maker. The decisions are made at the state level. And then we have seen an increase in the number of filings from El Paso Electric in the last 4 years. They've more than doubled. In this current year, we're at 14 filings, so they have doubled the number of filings they are seeing. And what we are doing proactively to help the council address your concerns in terms of rates is to continue to be involved in these filings as often as possible.
Thank you, Carla. We really want to make sure that you all have an opportunity to hear what's being said. We ask you to please respect this time. We cannot share information with all this noise, so please. These are all hooked up, so we don't have Bluetooth capabilities, you can see. There's a capacity. I'm not in charge of that. The police officers are.
We could do it outside with the speakers.
So we can have a part 2. Okay, we can have a part 2. This is something that I was going to recommend. But I also want to say, please give others the opportunity to come. If you attended this meeting and we have a second one, please give others the opportunity to come as well. Okay. also, please, if we're, we have the speakers, they can't hear if everyone's speaking, okay?
Okay, so I know you can't hear that well. Please.
Okay, so next we're gonna have Kelly.
But if we keep the quiet a little bit, then the volume, I'm pretty sure you can hear a tiny bit. As people walk out, they'll let you go in. And I'm sorry, we're at full capacity. Just bear with
Josie, can you please come help us with the PowerPoint?
Josie.
La voz de los representantes.
Ella es representante.
All right, thank you all for coming. I will try to speak loudly. I thought we were going to talk about data centers, but I can see that the topic of bills have been brought up. So I'm going to go really quickly. I'm going to try to respect the 5 minutes, and if I talk too fast, we'll get it through. Answer some questions. So I'm going to start my watch so I can be respectful of that. I do want to say that while I wasn't born here, I got here 6 years ago during COVID, and I was very, very happy to be a part of this community. And when I got here, I was so excited because I got to meet so many people, and the 1,200 people that I'm honored to lead every day. And there was something, a thirst for something more, a bigger vision that we didn't want to be 67% of the income in New Mexico. We didn't want to be one of 4 states. And I know a lot of you've heard me say this, and it always reminds me, but I am from West Virginia. My dad was a coal miner, and I resonated with that because there is no freedom without financial freedom. So we went through and we said, we are going to do something different. We're going to invest in this utility. We're going to keep you safe. Because you know what happens, guys? When there's a catastrophe, we have all the money in the world to fix the utility system. When there's a fire, when there's a flood, all of a sudden we can weatherize, we can do everything, and we didn't want there to be a catastrophe. So I want you to think about our system. Our system is very difficult to manage. I've lived all over the world. We have a very, very, as you're feeling right now, high summer peak. We don't have a day peak. We don't have a winter peak. And that's the reason we desperately need loads that fill in that gap. So this is what your bill does. This is what our system does. It more than doubles. And we know that's difficult. We have customer service rep here to help you. And again, I'll go real quick, but the rates did go up. After 4.5 years, we have to follow a rate case, and I think it's disingenuous to say any one intervener has the impact, and I'll show you some data on that. So it went up because we have to file a rate case, unlike some other entities. We don't get to file them every year, and it's not true that whatever we put in gets to go up, and we have the data to show that. So something did happen, and you're feeling, I know you're feeling, a pinch. And we have solutions for that because it went up dramatically because of many things happening at once. A fuel refund went away, the rates went up, and your usage doubled.
You were bought up by JP Morgan?
Pardon me?
That too. Sorry.
I'm happy to answer that question.
Yeah, you were bought up by JP Morgan 5 years ago, right?
Okay, 6 years ago, but I want to show you
Yes.
the specific rate increases, but I think it's really important to look the rumor that we're the highest price. We are not the highest price by far, and I also want to show you what the bill looks like because I think that's a pain point, but because we're not here to discuss that, I'm not going to. But we do not set our rates, and it's so disingenuous to say if somebody didn't intervene, we'd get exactly what we asked for. We have lots of interveners, always do. It's a year-long process, and here's what we have earned over the past 20 years. Do you see any time in there that we got what we asked for? It never happens, not to us, not to any utility. We got the most this time we ever asked for, and that was 59%. We had a rate freeze from 1997, 15 years. We didn't get any rate increases, and you can see it's 34%. We got a rate decrease to 60%, a rate increase there because of the rate decrease, 37, 47, and 50-something. So we never get what we asked for, and it really burns my butt a little bit when I hear that said. But here's what I would show you what we spent, because you want us to. Because you don't want our power plants to fail. You don't want your energy to fail because it is for your security and safety. And the 1,200 people that I represent every day are out there working hard in this heat to make sure you're safe. And I won't go through this, but there are budget billing because we know that it's hard for your bill to double. There are time of use rates that if you can shift your usage like I do. I have an electric car and we have EV rates. So what I would say about the bill, since it was brought up and this meeting was supposed to be about data centers, We're here, our customer service is here, we understand there's a lot of emotion in the room, and I hear it, both the anger and the fear, and we're here to answer those questions. But for the topic of the day on data centers, and I have a minute and a half, and I'm trying to be respectful, because I like to keep the time, I just want you to know several things. And you have a lot of information that we've given you. Like it or not, the economics of supply and demand will work whether we build one data center or not. And remind yourself, unlike Virginia and Arizona and all the places we're compared to, 0 data centers. I mean, I want to say that, 0 data centers. 0, that, you can decide that.
We want to decide
Now,
that.
that's not very nice, okay? You'll have a chance.
Is that in El Paso or Texas?
No, in our service territory.
Okay.
You will have your opportunity. Let me finish, okay? I will be nice. Wait, nice. We're not ugly people. So what I would say really quickly is what we do know. For taxes, for energy, if we don't get big users, the residentials continue to pay for everything. That's taxes, that is everything, while energy prices are going to go up because of supply and demand. Our country has been flat. But here's my promises to you. Number 1, you will never pay, and nor is there $1 in that bill for a data center. That's number 1. Not one. Number 2, there's no reason to subsidize Meta. They got more money than 5 countries. They have $360 billion in cash on hand. They haven't asked us to, and we will not, and we promise you that. Number 2, when we build the grid infrastructure, they paid it. They've already paid us $200 million. And we promise you, third thing, that we will put in protections, take or pay, and we will also put in protections that they leave, the parent has to guarantee it. So what I can tell you is that if you don't choose a data center, you can see the map, we have to find large loads, we have to get more commercial industrial, or we'll continue to lose our kids, we'll continue to fight this fight of economic spiral, and I don't think you want it. I know my people don't want it to work for me, and I know every person that I talk to who wants and loves this region and wants to stay here, wants a good job. I left you an ecosystem of what all has come since Meta has announced. It's not Meta, it's Meta and pin manufacturers. So please look at that. Thank you very much.
Okay, there will be a time for questions, okay? You can stand in line here to ask your question, okay? Now we have El Paso Water. Remember, in your question, it's one question per
Al mío
person.
son 400 de 600.
We have Gilbert with El Paso Water.
Excuse me. Stop there, please. Excuse me.
Help El Paso. That's what I need, help.
Good afternoon, everyone, and good evening. My name is Gilbert Trejo. I am a vice president overseeing operations and engineering for El Paso Water. I'm a licensed professional engineer in the state of Texas, and my core discipline is environmental engineering. So, again, thank you for coming here today. I'm going to be short and brief in my remarks. We're here
5 minutes.
to answer your questions. I'm going to present a couple slides here to set the core foundation for the decisions made at El Paso Water, to set the stage for a lot of the answers that we'll be giving and some of the narratives that we have been putting out there. One of the core responsibilities of El Paso Water is planning. We talk about planning at El Paso Water, not only for long-term water supply, but year-to-year planning, growth and development in the city. It's one of the things that we do. We are the protectors of the water supply. I think that's how you all see us. That's how we see ourselves. We accept that responsibility. I'm here to assure you that that is what we're doing. One of the core questions that we get asked often is, why are we providing water? How can we provide water? We have been talking about the water supply, the need to conserve, the need to develop new water supply for El Paso being in the desert. Why would we agree to serve a very large water user like Meta? Very basic question. And the slides here are going to answer that question. Planning, 2009. Everywhere in the outskirts of El Paso, as it's growing, one of the things that we do is to ensure that the infrastructure gets put in place for what those plans are. 2009, a master plan was developed for the Northeast. First master plan ever developed was in 2006, but it was updated in 2009, so my focus is on 2009. You see a map here of the Northeast, a lot of lines on there, lines representing water lines, sewer lines, tanks, so on and so forth. It is our job to make sure that this is thoroughly planned out. In 2009, that plan was to have high-density residential and commercial development in the Northeast. Now, of course, there's a lot of homes. What I'm talking about is specifically in the 1,000 acres that Meta is in. So in those 1,000 acres where this facility is going to be built, we had planned for those 1,000 acres this type of development. Now, with that development comes a single-day summer peak demand of 3.7 million gallons per day. This is our job to make sure that when that single day, the hottest day in the summer occurs, we're projecting that 3.7 million gallons per day is going to be used. Again, we're talking about these 1,000 acres. So when Meta came to us and said, we want to develop in these 1,000 acres, we said, you must fit within this demand profile. You must. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. You must fit within this. The infrastructure's planned out, the engineering's done. We have set our capital improvements program such that the sewer lines, tanks, pump stations, that's set. That is already set. And if this facility is gonna fit in this 1,000 acres, you must fit into this single day usage. They provided to us the information about how they designed their facilities. And they agreed and committed to 2.5 million gallon per day single day usage. Now,
Per day?
peak single day usage is what they're saying. Now, how does this work out? So there's a lot of information that goes behind this, and their single day usage is all tied to temperature. Temperature, humidity not an issue here in El Paso, but temperature. So we ran our own models to understand what do they mean by 2.5 million gallons per day. Because I think just like most of you, we're thinking 2.5 million gallons a day every single day year round? No way. We would say no way. No way. That's not how this area was designed. So then they showed us how their usage is very dependent on temperature. So I know there's a lot going on in this graph, but a couple things to focus on. Number one, what is in the contract with Meta, 2.5 million gallons per day? That is a flow rate. So how often and when will they be using that amount of water? When the temperature outside is 116 and 117 degrees. That is what they've committed to. And that's what that 2.5 million gallons per day is. Each one of those bars represents 1 hour of the day. So this is like the temperature profile in what would be the hottest day in El Paso at any given year in the future. So at night it cools down, during the day it peaks up. So when it's the hottest, that's when they're going to hit the 2.5 million gallons per day. That's why we're okay with it. They fit well within the profile, just the way the residential development was. On that hottest day when if this would be the residential commercial, everyone would be using air conditioners and watering. That's when they would be using it in that commercial residential development scenario. Same thing here. They're not using 2.5 million gallons per day every single day, only when the temperature is this hot. The other number I'd want to bring to your attention is on the far right-hand side, the cumulative use. So how much water are they going to be using in a single day? Roughly 1.25 million gallons per day.
How much water is in our aquifers?
In 1 day. That averages out to 480 gallons per day, like for the whole year. So the average daily usage. Oops, one more. So this is my last slide. So again, when we are asked, El Paso Water, how could you agree to this? Well, we agreed to this because in the grand scheme of things, Meta represents less than 1% of this very large water user category that we track. That's why we agreed to it, because they fall well within all the planning parameters that we have planned for, all of them. Now, enforcement, how do we know that that's going to happen? I can get those questions a lot. I'll stop to be happy to answer all these questions. There's a lot that goes into this. I just want to set the stage a little bit for why are we okay with, or why are we able to serve this development or this facility without rate increases, without dedicated facilities, without anything like that. This is the only place this data center could have gone in the city of El Paso. 5 minutes. The only place. This could not have gone anywhere else simply because of planning.
Did you calculate for the 200 million in infrastructure?
You know, this meeting is for everyone, okay? This meeting is for everyone. We want to give the opportunity for everyone to hear Okay, we have a lot of seniors here. Please be mindful and please. There's a couple of residents here that cannot come up, so we're going to start with them first. If you'd like to go ahead and ask your question. Okay, so the question is, how are you helping the disabled and seniors for El Paso Electric?
There's a customer service rep, but basically we have several programs for anybody that is hurt. Number one, there's we have a records fund to help. We also have Alex Bill where you can.
Pregunta. Voy a hacer pregunta. Are you guys in line for questions?
And one of which is that we do have funding, Reinhardt's fund, that today is available for anybody struggling to pay their bill. We do have, if you'll notice, 600 kilowatts are charged at a lower rate. And we offer a lot of our customers something that I found very helpful, just to make sure you have a balanced bill over time, looking at your own bill and seeing what of our solutions work for you. Like I said, I want time and use rates because I don't have a lot of people home, but for somebody that is home between 2 and 7, that might not be the best result. But I think for all of us, we are working really hard to make sure that our most vulnerable are taken care of. And thank you for your service.
Follow up on that is, why isn't there a discount or something for people who need equipment, like oxygen? I called and asked them, they should have an option.
And we don't offer equipment, but there are other funding that do help, and you're talking about energy efficiency and other equipment. There are other industries or agencies we can work with for LED lights and some other things that can help you with your
Well, I'm
bill.
talking about like an oxygen machine that someone's might need,
Okay.
to lower the bill. And I get a discount on my trash, like $4.
Right.
Save it. I guess I'm the next company that has more people who need machines or
Sure, and it's just not built into our bills, but we do have funding that we can utilize to help anybody that's vulnerable and needs some help.
I think that's a very good suggestion. It's something maybe the Paso Electric can look into. I don't know if they've been asked this question before, but Kelly, if you want to make a note of that. They do have a customer service representative out front. If you would like to ask additional questions there. Yes, go ahead, Ms. Kennedy.
Everybody out there is on septic tanks, and we have no lighting, we don't have paved streets. If anyone wants to go out there and take a trip, it's really an eye-opener, because we're landlocked by housing. So, what happened where, in the beginning of 2026, you said, yes, we're gonna work on that, and all of a sudden, we're not. I hear that it's in 2030. But it's an environmental concern, because septic tanks, they damage the environment. So we're asking for your help to please take a bigger gear on that and do discretionary funds, whatever. I know Fred just came in, and we need help in that area.
Thank you, Ms. Canada. So her question, Ms. Canada, is from Futureland. There's a neighborhood in far northeast called Futureland, and they do not have sewage. And so her question is to El Paso Water to see when they can have something for this neighborhood.
Thank you for your question. We for sure will take your concern back to the Public Service Board as we develop the budget for this coming year. A lot of competing interests, but you're right. The need for sewage collection in your area is important. We've been working with Representative Trejo's office. We hear your concerns. It is in our capital improvement program to get it done, but I hear your concern. We will take it back to our Public Service Board in terms of prioritizing this project ahead of others.
They were incorporated in 1978.
Also, so
Futureland is being gentrified.
Please. I've been in this role for a year and a half. I have been looking at how I can help this neighborhood. We actually have Congresswoman Veronica Escobar and her team coming to your
No.
We have
Boo, out of here.
You know, the more noise that is done, the less time we have, okay? Please. So they're gonna be doing a tour. We have it scheduled for August the 19th, okay? And so they're gonna come and take a look at it to see if maybe there's some opportunities here for grants. I believe, Ms. Gray, you had a question as well? Okay.
Annexed in 1978. All the things that they have promised us has never been done. Now that they have a new housing area next to us and across the street, now they're calling us a trailer park. And that's that. I have made up these for you people so you can see the annex paperwork plus the picture of how I get flooded every time it rains real bad. I cannot get water up to my ankle. I can't get in my car. I can't go to the garbage. And it's just absolutely, where's the money go? That you people annex, well, the old people, all those people there are dead, I mean. Where's the money go? Now we have to wait until 2030. And a letter was out that said that if you have water, you have to have.
Woo!
Water company from 2021, and I'm sure you've seen it, we've all got it, and we were promised. Now get this, and everybody can listen to this one. Septic tanks were outlawed within the city of El Paso, Texas. They came in, sent us all these letters that they were coming in and putting no cost sewage to each and every one of our homes, not trailer parks, homes. Some of these homes are beautiful, maybe some of them aren't, but that's irrelevant. The part is, they promised this, but there was they had no sewer line going out there. They've had it for 2-3 years now. We still haven't got it. I have notifications here from Adrian and Central Rather, but this was promised to go in 2023. When he said this, 2024, the plans were to go into effect in February of that year for our sewage to come in, which they have had that. Yet we get put on the back burner, put on the back burner, put on the back burner. They outlawed septic tanks within the city of El Paso. Yet they're breaking your own laws. You guys are breaking your own laws by allowing these septic tanks to be on these properties, leaving it to property owners. It's ridiculous that we keep getting put on the back burner. And I just found out recently that now it's 2030. 4 years from now, really? I mean, this is going to stop.
And it's $800 to empty those.
And the trucks that come in with companies' tanks can't even dump into El Paso anymore. You, the water company sewage, will not allow them to dump the sewage. It's not allowed to, but it happened. Okay. So it's going round. Thank you for sharing your information. As Mr. Trejo had mentioned, they are going to see what they can do to expedite it. And, you know, as I mentioned also, I'm looking on my end as a city representative to see what I can do. I've been in contact with Ms. Canada and with Ms. Gray. I'm working towards that. It really is a Paso Water that's working towards that, but I'm doing what I can to help in my end, okay? Now we're gonna go ahead and go with our line here. We'll start here with this gentleman. So we have one mic, you'll ask the question, and then I'll pass it over to them, okay? Doesn't go very
Good afternoon. My name is Marco Sanchez. I wanted to ask directly Mrs. Kelly Tomlin. I know you mentioned earlier that there were 0 existing data centers in El Paso, and I'll give you the buy that they are technically not within the El Paso County. But my concern is that we do have numerous data centers. In Santa Teresa specifically, we do have the Lumen data center. There's a question. How much in kilowatt hours is the usage of all data centers under the service parameter of El Paso Electric?
At this point, 0, except for a couple megawatts that they have construction where they're building. And I just want to remind everybody, I have an obligation to serve when a customer comes, whether it's a bar or a church, a strip joint, We can't discriminate. I have to serve people who come, but today, the only thing that we are providing Meta is with construction power. We don't provide anything to all the projects that you just said at this point because of what they call behind the meter. So we're not providing that right now. And what I said with this little map is that the problem is that you all care about lowering prices. I don't know how to do it without bigger users. And if it's not data centers, get me somebody else, but we need bigger users. But today, zero.
Okay, thank you. Just one question. Thank you so much. Who's next?
I'm short. Most people don't see me. Howdy, y'all. I've been in Texas about 5 to 6 years now, and just a little experience. I used to build data centers as a steam fitter, pipe fitter out of New York. Was a traveler. So some of what I'm asking is not internet hype or conspiracy or misinformation. It's someone who literally built data centers. So I have one question, and it can be answered by actually 2 parts. One, the next meeting, can it be more available for one, handicapped people, and 2, the clear-cut case of people are interested and engaged, which as government, that should be great, because your voters are right here, and the midterms are coming up, so we gotta remember this. But as one question, sorry, why the high desert of El Paso for a known building that is able to be cooled in other means aside from the groundwater, but they choose not to do that because it's the least expensive. But that's my question. Why El Paso? It's for the board, across the board. And y'all don't have to answer me. You can go to you can answer in the future. You know, you can answer whenever you want. Just why El Paso? Why here?
Okay, well, I'm gonna answer the first question. I'm a District 4 city representative, and I'm making this open to our District 4 constituents. It's open to the city of El Paso. I know that other city representatives are also having these type of meetings, which I encourage you to go to. This is an opportunity to bring the experts to the people. And so that's why it's here, because this is where we have our community meetings. That's the answer to that question. I don't know if Carla can answer why El Paso, so we can, no? Okay, go ahead, Carla.
I'm short too, so you can't say, that's usually you can't see me when I stand behind here. I was told, this has been going on for 3 years, and we actively, meaning the city, actively solicited, but here's what I was told. The first of which is you need land. The second of which is because we are a vertically integrated utility, we have generation, transmission, distribution, and like the other data centers, you see how that cost allocates difficult if you're in PJM. And what I would tell you that's really great, because we've had 10 years to watch where people got it really wrong in their contracts, what they got really wrong. Pardon me? And it's so that's why. And because we're sitting on the Permian Basin, because we could build quicker, and we have a workforce, and the workforce.
So we're building quick?
Really important. I'm just telling you what they told me. You asked why. That's what they told me.
They lied to you.
They like you.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. We can go ahead and have a seat.
Hello to everyone. I have more than a question and concern type of question. I'm from Chaparral, and the reason that I've been doing is that data centers like on Cali and other cities are already on pollution, noise pollution. People have problems already, and you guys put it right on the state line. Below the aquifers that you're trying to save for most of these, right? And my concern is that this data center pretty much, they have a lifetime of the hardware between 5 to 10 years, and they have to update it that often. They can last up to 20 to 50 years, but when they do that, sometimes they have to flush
the cooling systems. When that happens, they can have a leak, and these toxins can have a big issue when they go on the ground, because you cannot get rid of them. And it happened before on the blizzard Arizona Valley. My question is, if, so far the way that I see it, we may not be able to block this progress because it's part of humanity as a society. But at least we have something to protect us as cheap taxes, like the industrial taxes that can cover or assets in case they messed up, they can pay and recover for our kids. Because in case something gets polluted, they have to pay for all the errors, the mistakes in the beginning. Because right now, if you go around 839 to the state line, I have some like 11. It's the whole night you can see the lights of that place, and it's kind of awkward that you put the next base. You're building a secondary platform right on the state line next to the data center, and now you're working on the other side of the city or in front of the state line. So my question is, do we have the cheap tax added on the contract so they can pay whatever they messed up on the city?
Is that a question for the water company? The Paso Water, the question again? Tic tac. Okay, there we go. Take the industrial tax.
So I'm not familiar with the tech industrial tax, but I'm going to say that any industry that pollutes the groundwater, that pollutes the soil on their property, outside their property, they are held responsible for that. Now, we are responsible for the regulation of the wastewater that comes to us. We're responsible to make sure that the groundwater remains uncontaminated. The Clean Water Act is a federal law, regulation in place to make sure that they're held accountable for it. That's one of our core duties. So from that standpoint, yes, everything is in place for them to be held accountable to make sure that they do not pollute the environment.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Why can't I have one question for all? No, one question for all. Excuse me? I'm going to ask a question. Very good. To this fine lady of the El Paso electorate, would you say that the real increases energy bills would increase energy bills to El Pasoans?
As I tried to lay out, they have not, because nothing is in their rate cases, number one. Number two, it's our intent and the contract is designed for them to pay everything that they cost. And number three, as you've heard today, every dollar that we make, if we make over our regulated return, goes back to our customers. So the answer is, it won't affect your bill.
Anyway, the Texas electric grid cannot support the DC boom without billions of dollars upgrade to the cost of these upgrades will be passed on to the resident. 267% estimated increase wholesale electricity costs. And you know where that comes from? From the governors, which I trust more, and I do apologize, than you people here. And you're wrong. I respect your opinion, but you're wrong. If you could put it in an affidavit for the people, I think that would be great. Thank you, man. Thank you. The next one is, I have another question. Why the gentleman didn't speak? He was supposed to speak. One question.
They're going to tackle that elderly gentleman? Wow. Maybe. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
You can ask that question for me. You can ask that
He can ask it for me.
My last question, and I'll leave. Why did the gentleman here, the name of John Fellow, or something like that, why did you speak, sir? We're here in the speak. Why did you hear? And before I leave, what you said before the press, it's not reality what you said, sir. It's all from you, even from the city attorney. It's arguments of authority. Look it up. Arguments of authority have fallacies like you wouldn't believe. And all of you, with all due respect, ma'am, also what you said before about the meta contract is not true. It can be, I found it to be oil. But we'll talk about it.
Okay, so the water department public service, okay? When the water main breaks, who pays the rates when all that leakage comes out? We do. Electric, why are you discriminating against people that got solar? And I have it on record from your company that admits that people with solar get charged more for their kilowatts than people without solar. And I have it on tape. I recorded the call. I'm being charged almost $6 a kilowatt for the last 2 months. Other people are getting charged 13 to 14 cents a kilowatt. $100. Okay? And your company's telling me because you have solar. That's exactly what they said. That's discrimination.
Why are you charging solar?
They're charging almost $6 a kilowatt if you have solar panels.
But you don't make that. Like, the sun makes that.
So here's what happens for our system. Remember I told you about that big peak? We have to build in the big peak because solar doesn't work at night, and solar comes on our system at night. Now, if you want to stay off our system, get batteries to stay off, go off. But what's happened over the years, can I finish, guys? I've listened to you all. Over the years, the people who have solar usually are the most vulnerable people. They haven't paid what it costs to build that peak. Everybody else has paid it. So what we're now going to charge you is for what you use. You've had a subsidy for many years, but not when we need it. We need it at night.
But they're generating sun. They're generating power.
Okay. We have a customer service over here. Thank you so much.
My bill used to be $32 a month. Now it's over $200.
So
I got 28 panels, and it's been that way for 3 years since I moved back to El Paso. You know, you talk about El Paso being nice. You want to build all these commercial buildings out here. Shit, we only got one Home Depot. We don't even have a Home Depot out here. We just now got a Jersey Mike's.
Appreciate it. I appreciate your time.
I've been canvassing, and people are moving to the bases of people wanting to own their homes. This morning, you guys voted for yet another property tax hike. The county wants to give us another property tax hike. How do you justify giving us rate increases, property tax hikes, while you're giving a multi-million-dollar corporation billions of dollars in tax increases for 25 years?
35.
So the question that was asked earlier about why El Paso, and your question on when the proposal was brought to the city of El Paso, brought by the governor's office, they selected El Paso as a site for the data center. We were reportedly asked if we would allow for them to move to El Paso. The incentive for the property when it was sold, the property was not generating any property taxes because it was held by the city of El Paso. The city of El Paso was not. The difference that we are generating is that they will become the largest property taxpayer in the city of El Paso. There will be no other taxpayer that pays more taxes than them. Well, actually, immediately they will pay because of the tax abatement is not a 100% tax abatement that lasts for the first 10 years, and there's a 25-year rebate. That's the question that you're asking.
And the other 20% goes to EP Electric.
That we have to grow the tax base. When the council is making decisions and the rest of the taxpayers in El Paso is made up of 60% ratepayers are residential, 40% commercial. If you go to other cities, it's inverse. So the property tax burden in El Paso is inordinately heavy on our residential ratepayers. And when we're trying to grow our tax base, we are seeking to grow the tax base on the commercial side to offset the subsidy that the residents pay. That was the intent.
Then why did you raise the taxes on property tax?
I'm gonna go ahead and pass by this.
Hi everyone, my name is Susan and I've been a resident of the Northeast for almost 20 years. I bought my house 10 years ago. I'm a veteran, I got a VA loan. This is the only investment I am ever gonna make. Okay, that house. My house is now 7 miles from a data center. I didn't know this was going on in 2023, you didn't either, but now we know. And when you talk about infrastructure, them building the infrastructure to power the data center, it's a gas power plant. How am I gonna sell my house to a family and say, yeah, there's a gas power plant 7 miles from where you live? How are you protecting my investment? Because this does not protect me. Like, I know the city did not do an environmental assessment. I know you didn't do a health assessment. And I want you, as my representative, to make a promise that you will do a health assessment, an environmental assessment, an economic assessment. I want to know what the impact is on all of our houses. We are going to have to deal with this for years. I'm paying more taxes than Meta. Right?
Yes.
This is my investment, my home, and it's being ruined by these people who just want to make more money. And you know, like, there's other things you can do. This was supposed to be a solar power plant. I'm sorry for raising my voice, but I'm so frustrated. It was supposed to be a solar power plant. That's what they said. I would feel so much better if it was a solar power plant. At least we would be doing something to utilize, I don't know, green energy infrastructure. But no, we're going all in because the fastest way to do it is gas power. And I don't need an answer because I don't want to hear the PR. I want your answer, Ms. Trejo. I want you to promise that you will look into this, that there will be an assessment, that there will be for health, environmental, and economic. Promise me.
You live here too.
This is something I definitely will look into. Is this a question?
Don't look into it. Just do it. Just do it. Don't look into it. Just do it.
So the assessment is not done by the city of El Paso. The assessment has to be done by
Your taxes go up. I don't own property, but my property tax goes up, so does my rent. The mayor ran on lower tax. They lied. They should be gone. Third time around.
One of the things that I brought to council is a community agreement. And in this community agreement is asking Meta.
Was that the one where your emails were leaked?
Provide.
Was that the one where your emails were leaked?
Are you going to allow me to speak, sir?
Well, just a question.
Okay.
We just want to know that's the one that Meta gave you
Anyway, this is
instructions on
something
what
that's
to
going to
do.
come back to City Council. It should be back, I believe, at the end of the month of August. And it pertains to all our resources. This is something that I have been pushing for our community. I live less than 7 miles away from Meta. And so I'm your neighbor. I'm your neighbor. Okay? I live here. I have family here. I have cousins and aunts and uncles and children. I live here.
And you sold them all out.
This is a concern, yes, and I am looking into this, so thank you so much.
But you don't work for the community, Mr. Echo. You work for yourself and your needs. That's who you work for. You know it.
All right, good evening. Good evening, you all. My name is Kathleen Zerlinzen, and like Ms. Trejo and like Susan, I live 7 miles away from where you're building the Meta Data Center.
And we all have heard a lot of pretty words tonight. And I know many other cities have heard the same pretty words before they built the data centers. And then they come in, just like they did in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and they build a data center, and it's like many of the people in here know, they dumped 800,000 gallons of wastewater that had bacteria, a very, very harmful bacteria, into the city. What I want to know is how you all will be accountable to us, the people, to tell us how we will know that Meta is not holding true to their standards. And when they don't hold true to those standards, because they won't, I want to know what you guys are going to do to stop them. Woo!
So I'm going to ask John too, because I know he did a presentation. He talked about the water and how it doesn't.
So thank you for pointing out the Cheyenne, and yes, we're familiar with what happened there. So the wastewater that comes from Meta, we will take it and we will treat the wastewater, and we will disinfect it as well.
According to whose standard?
An entire team of people who are dedicated to this kind of thing. We have many industries in El Paso that we regulate. We have a permit system. We collect samples. We do an analysis at our own laboratory, and we conduct enforcement. And we have many more complicated waste streams than what Meta is going to provide. We're definitely going to regulate it. We have an industrial pretreatment team, we have a laboratory team, and we have legal staff that does this for perhaps 35 different industries in town. So we do this on a regular basis. And it is published in the newspaper. We publish in the newspaper every year any sort of violation of this regulation.
So how does that help if the water's contaminated? If the water's already contaminated, how does that help?
Thank you, appreciate your time.
Good afternoon, my name is Rosario, and I am here to protest about my electrical bill. I have solar panels, and this bill that I got, I am paying 150% more than what I paid last month. And also, I am paying more right now than what I paid before I put my solar panels. That I think that is ridiculous, because we are retired persons. We are already in our 70s. We live out of a check of $1,000 a month, and I think that is a fourth of our pension. I think that's ridiculous. Why are we paying more than even the people that don't have solar panels?
The only thing that we were trying to do and we meant to do is that we have to build infrastructure that is at peak. We only charge you your, what we call our demand charge, meaning where the peak is. Because what was happening, you're right, you were paying a very small bill, but guess what? We were building the same thing as if you didn't have one piece of solar, because a lot of people come out at peak. So now we have to charge you. For many years, other people were subsidizing solar, and we're working now to say to our solar customers, let's look at your bill, how to get the demand charge down, because what was happening for many, many years is that our solar would generate during the day when we have a surplus of power. Remember, we're building a gigawatt of solar. We're building 1.4 gigawatts of batteries, and we are building it now, and we have community solar, and larger solar is more efficient. But what was happening over many years is that people usually, and you're seemingly not in that category, who couldn't pay, were paying for us to build that very expensive peak, but weren't paying for it. So what we can do, no, they weren't paying for it, guys, they weren't. So now we have a demand charge that if you go high, we pay for what you cause the system to cost. So we're happy to work with you. Let's get the demand charge down.
Go ask
Meta. I can't talk like this. You were subsidized for years.
Are you blaming us? Sorry to hold you accountable to your own words. God forbid it happened to boomers.
$140 million of property.
Okay, we have another question here.
Hi, Cynthia Kraus. I live 1 mile away from the Meta Center. I was never told when I bought my house that they were building a Meta Center there. I bought it in 2025. They moved this in 2023, so they sold us all out. There's a gentleman in the room here tonight that said he was building a home there. Realtors just recently didn't tell him anything about it, and so he backed out of the contract. We're pissed off, okay, because we don't know how our health is going to be affected. We already have tons of light pollution going on. We have water trucks, gravel trucks coming through our brand new community. We don't know about the sound and the noise barriers. What are they going to do about that? What about the heat? They say within that zone that our temperatures can go up from 4 to 10 degrees hotter. We didn't ask for this. My question is they purchased this land, I believe, in 2023 in December. It might have been the beginning of 2024. Are they paying taxes on it yet? They are? No, they're not. I looked it up, and they are not paying taxes, property taxes, on that property for 2 years. $800 million of land. But yet they are coming to us, asking us to pay additional $115 a year in property taxes. Now my question is when they start paying property taxes, and from what I understand, what I was able to find out, is they don't have to pay any property taxes until they go fully functional, and we are looking at 2029, maybe 2030. So they're paying no taxes this entire time. Now, when they start paying taxes, what is it going to do for us? Because you said you pulled them in as an economic development, basically a huge warehouse without any windows, without any employees, 50. I don't see how that benefits our city when it's taking all of our resources away from us. We had no idea this was even going on because of all of the NDAs you held behind our backs. So how is that property tax money going to go back to benefit all of the citizens here in El Paso? That is my question.
So tomorrow actually in 5 phases. The first phase is going to start developing and paying property taxes. That property tax will go right into the city's coffers. They will be the largest ratepayer in the city of El Paso for property taxes when they get their CO. So that will probably be next year when they're fully operational.
Probably next year. Probably.
Are you sure? Phase 1 or all 5?
No, the 5 phases are not going to be done. No, they will come in online per phase.
Why are we not charging them now?
They are paying property taxes when they own the property, they became a property owner, they pay property taxes on their valuation. I don't know where you have your taxes. I don't know where you have that information now.
Cynthia, I will send you that information. Thank you.
All right, my question is regarding the travesty of the gas plant. I want to understand how it is legal or permissible for a city that did non-attainment status with the Environmental Protection Agency for years. Some reports since 1991. We are non-attainment status with the EPA for a particular matter that is less than 10 microns or less than 2.5 microns. With a gas plant, one company that's introducing 813 dirty gas generators stacked on top of each other in the city that was voted the most polluted in America last year, that is going to produce 42 to 47 tons of particulate matter, additional tons per year. In addition to that, that's just direct emissions. We also have the over 100 tons of nitric oxide pollution that acts as a chemical precursor with the ground level ozone that creates additional smog and additional particulate matter. And we know that the water table is connected to the rainfall. It goes into our aquifers. Everything that's above ground ends up below ground. This seems like a direct attack on our respiratory systems, on the health of our city, on the regional sustainability goals we have. How is this legal and how is this permissible? We know we want the big players to help us with the money, but at the cost of our health?
That's what I want to know. Thank you. Thank you.
It's not just. You want me to talk? Well, here's what I would say is that a couple of things. I mentioned before, you mentioned this gas-fired power plant is 335 megawatts. What we're building solar is a gigawatt, and what we're building batteries is 1.4, so it's almost 4 times. The unfortunate part for all of us in the room today is that we're going to run solar until solar goes out at, let's say, 5 o'clock. We're building batteries to run at 9, but not just for Meta, for all of us. Unfortunately, today, the only thing that works after that is gas. And what we have today on our system is, as you know, what works at night is gas. So 800, they are like car engines. There are 1.5 million cars on the road today, and we'll be adding 800. Only 400 will be operating in time.
Our backyards.
Is that a good solution?
No.
But what I will tell you, there is no, for all of us, nothing works at night today.
Batteries work at night.
It doesn't in our backyard.
Okay, thank you.
That's all you want. You're not gonna be around for 30 years from
Okay,
now.
we have another person. Thank you.
That's a good roast.
Yeah, thank you for having this
Talk
meeting.
tough when I can't hear you.
I would hope that next time you would have it in a larger facility, because this is never gonna be, you'll never find a facility big enough. My question is for Ms. Tomlin.
Yeah, ignore me, like your generation has for years. This is our town, man. You're a neighbor, so you want your water polluted? No, I'm sorry, I'm trying to be as respectful as a company that's known to participate.
I understand, but you gotta give others their space, okay? We gave you the
What
opportunity
about
to
the
speak.
children?
Okay,
What
can I have a
about the
question?
children in 30 years from now? Can we, you just promised for a study. Please,
Okay,
that's
so
all we're asking.
My question is, did El Paso Electric not make $140 million in 2021?
Oh, that's right.
El Paso Electric is owned by pensioners, and those pensioners gave us money. I think we all know this. If you run a Whataburger or whatever that you run, meaning we went out to the market and we got money from pensioners. And what we have to do now is give a return, just like if I don't know if you have a pension or you do the investment, and we had to take that money and give it back to the people who gave us money for infrastructure. Unlike other companies, we can only make 9.0 or 9.4. That's regulated. We have to give the rest of it back. So the answer is yes, but it's not us who makes the pension.
Any other options? We don't know options. We don't have to draw.
Sí, no worries.
I have a question.
Ahorita comí mucha azúcar, so estoy medio hype. Ay, disculpe. Y me dieron un boli.
April 8th, I believe, at the Public Service Board meeting.
And that's what everyone utility tries to do. Valves don't close. They just don't close. Valves, same issue as the pipeline. The most affordable. We have the most affordable. In a public water system. Because we can go to the best stainless steel valves, stainless steel components and valves, extremely expensive to install them. And that's just not affordable for public water systems, because as soon as we go in that direction, water rates would go through the roof.
So if we went to the most expensive, our water rates would go through the roof. So why are our water rates going through the roof now if we have the most affordable?
This is in regards to the January 19th pipe breakup.
The answer is because of aging infrastructure. There's a lot of infrastructure in place right now that we have to replace. We're the generation, this is our generation of replacing infrastructure. That is why we choose the most affordable infrastructure to replace what we have right now with. Again, I'll say it again. We have a lot of infrastructure to replace in El Paso. We go with the best of the most affordable, so that we can keep water rates low, but there is a lot of infrastructure that has to be replaced.
Make Meta pay for it. You're not paying taxes, so you got the money.
So Representative Trejo asked me to talk a little bit about the infrastructure for the 36-inch line break that happened. So there was the initial break that happened. We mobilized to weld and fix that one line segment. We are now replacing the entire line segment along that stretch of that pipeline system. So right now we're replacing, gosh, I want to say several thousand feet of it. Several thousand feet of it, not just that one piece. Not just that one piece. So that is what we have in the works right now.
Thank you.
It's the fees.
What I wanted to say is, we can't afford it. So we're hurting. We are hurting. So where, I don't know, is this going to the data center? Where is, we want answers.
And again, I hear the trust issues, I can say it over and over, but in our country, the demand was flat forever, and now the demand is going up. And what happens in demand and basic economics, demand goes up, the supply stays the same, meaning all the poles, cable, everything, the prices went up. So that happened, and then we had a terrible June. What I will tell you is we have a customer service rep here that would look at your bill and help you. I believe it or not, I am human, I feel that, and we're trying, I hear you, but here's what else.
Clearly don't.
Shut up, man. I mean, I lived in a trailer court, come on, man, I used to not be able to get out. All right, if you're gonna be ugly, I'm trying to, she asked me a question, let me answer. And then we do want to help, so there are prices out there, but it's two things, supply and demand. And we've taken, I have nothing to do with this, sir. All right, I'll say one more thing, that what our obligation is to take the lowest cost resource. We go out and say what's the lowest cost resource, and unfortunately, as you know, subsidies went away for solar and battery. And the subsidies went away, and we have to get the lowest cost resource. Okay. Yes, one of you got to talk. There is some assistance if you can pay your bill, and we have some solutions out front.
Payment plans.
Again, this is the location where we've been having our District 4 meetings. This is the
60
District
from
4
me now,
meeting,
60
and this is
tomorrow.
where we have our meetings.
I'm thinking about,
As far as
what if we
something
start a
bigger, I don't know that
boycott?
there's something bigger in Northeast to be able to have, to be able to hold something like this. Again, I appreciate you all being here.
And then after they try to charge you, start the payment plan and pay everything minimum. Everybody do that minimum. Eventually they'll run out of money.
So I would say, to answer your question first, ma'am, there are more facilities in the Northeast that can handle more people. You understand that this is an issue that has really frustrated Northeast people. I live in, excuse me, I live on Hercules, so I'm not of this district. My son's grandparents are right here because they live in the Futureland area. My son's mom lives in Mesquite Hills. Northeasters know that from Hercules to the Pizza Pros, all of this is one community, even if it goes a little bit lower or a little bit higher. I lived at an apartment complex right up there on Dyer. The Northeast means so much to me, and the data center is such an ugly, ugly thing that maybe you were not a part of, maybe you guys were tricked, but we need to be smart, because communities all across the United States are fighting against them. And you agreeing the leaked documents of you saying, I want a community agreement, and them saying, no, we won't give that to you. We deserve better than you just giving to Meta whatever they want. You have to understand that. Go ahead and ask my question. Meta claims to be restoring 200% of the water. Other than what they say, which we know they will lie, they will mislead us, what other verification do we have that that's what's going to happen?
Okay, so I'm gonna answer the emails. So I'm the representative for Meta is coming up, guys. I'm the representative for you all. I also represented the businesses. I speak to businesses on a daily basis. Small business, large business. I speak to those businesses that are in our district on a daily basis. I was having conversations with Meta about a community agreement to see how we can bring them to the table, because we have not brought them to the table. No, but what came to council was what I proposed. There was no change in the language.
Then why are they constructing already?
There was nothing done in secret. There was nothing done unethical. There was nothing done illegal. I was having conversations with Meta to bring them to the table to hold them accountable. That's what those emails were about. Okay, then we have another question. What was the question for?
Yes. How do we know that Meta actually is going to recycle their water by 200%?
So this is a water question.
So what you're talking about is a statement that Meta made is what they're going to do. Okay, as far as what we're going to do is we're going to
Okay, so we got two
take that
CEOs.
wastewater and we are going to treat it, and then it'll be part of the overall mix of wastewater in Northeast. But that has nothing to do with that statement that they made. So the statement,
That's the problem then. They make a statement that 100% of the water, this thing is brought back to life, and then you as the local authority is like, we're going to do our best. You see how the community can feel untrustworthy of it makes sense.
So we are going to do what we intended to do, and what we are going to do is to take that wastewater, which along with all the other wastewater in Northeast is taken and recycled. That's what we're gonna do. We did not make a claim about the 2-for-1 or whatever. That was Meta's claim and has nothing to do with our agreement. We are going to take that and all the wastewater in Northeast gets reclaimed, goes to the aquifer, painted dunes, or the electric.
So Meta's lying to the public.
So there, one of the things that was brought up, thank you, sir. One of the things that were brought up in council is to have Meta come and do community meetings. And so they're gonna be going to the different communities to have their meetings. We can't speak on behalf of Meta, but they can answer the questions that you all have, okay? So I don't know when those are gonna start, but that's part of the what was asked of them, okay? We do have, we've run out of time. Kelly does have we have a line. Kelly does have another engagement, so we'll take 2 more questions, guys, because we're out of time. Go ahead.
I'm Jonathan Torres, and I live in the Northeast as well. And I've done research on the Meta data center in Los Lunas, New Mexico. And they're right next to the Rio Grande. They're not next to that big concrete block that we have in between here and Juarez. And here's what the research that I found. They are 100% powered by renewable energy. And I think that data centers are supposed to pay for the grid infrastructure, and they pay the increased utility rates. But even with that, and that data center has been there for a couple of years now, the Rio Grande dried up. And I looked at an article from Snopes saying, oh, the Meta data center in Los Lunas did not dry up the Rio Grande River. But I did more research, and their groundwater is connected to the Rio Grande. So it is supplied by the Rio Grande. So given that, isn't El Paso more at risk with our water supply? Thank you.
Question for Jean-Paul.
So it's important to know that the Meta Center here does not have any wells. They're not going to be producing any water. Okay? We're going to be producing all the water and selling it to Meta. So there's not going to be any withdrawals underneath the Meta facility. And as you saw from the graph, there's a very small sliver, very small amount of water in comparison to what we produce. Actually, Meta is going to be using. And of course, as you mentioned, the Rio Grande is subject to drought. We've been operating in a drought since 2003. The water in the Rio Grande comes from snowpack in southern Colorado, northern New Mexico, and yes, it is reduced, and it doesn't have anything to do with Meta, as far as I know, here in New Mexico. But here in El Paso, the water is going to be, the water that we supply to Meta is going to be the mix of water that we supply to all of our customers, which is desalination water, the Rio Grande water when it's available, and groundwater.
Thank you, sir. And this is our last question. Thank you.
Hey, it's really not a question. How's everybody doing? I know that's not too good, but hey, I served 32 years in the military. I've been here in El Paso going on 16 years, and I'm a part of the Northeast. And one thing I can truly say is that we had people before her. And I hear the room. The room is saying, okay, we can't do nothing about what the people did before her. But what are you gonna do to be visible and let everybody see what's going on? And I'm not just talking to you. I'm talking to the subject matter experts that are up here. that are talking, telling these people that this is gonna happen? What are we gonna have to show them that we are following what we say we're gonna do? That's what's being asked out here. Show us what's gonna happen. And that's not all in your area. You only got one part of it. But you got to have that answer. And then the last thing I leave with y'all, you need to get your butt out and vote.
Thank you all for coming tonight. Kelly has to leave. This is over at 6:30. If you haven't had a chance to get your questions answered, please write it down and we will make sure we answer those questions, okay? Thank you.
You didn't answer that last question. What are you doing? What are you going to do?